Our first speaker for this session is Dr. Chinu Agarwal, Founder Director of Feeling Minds, who will be presenting an informative session on major mental health issues in children and adolescents. I request AV team to play the video of Dr. Chinu Agarwal.
Dr. Chinu Agarwal, psychologist and psychotherapist. Dr. Chinu Agarwal is a founder director of Feeling Minds, an organization dedicated to bring psychology to everyone. She is the trustee of the NGO HEMA Foundation, working committedly in the field of value education. Dr. Chinu Agarwal is a trained and certified by AEI, NY, USA, trained in CBT Beck Institute. She is the certified hypnotherapist from Christie University, Bangalore. Dr. Chinu Agarwal received International Excellence Award in 2023. Dr. Chinu Agarwal is rewarded by International Award for her outstanding contribution in the field of school mental health, left a lasting positive impact on thousands of lives, earning her well-deserved admiration and respect.
Thank you so much for having me here. Friends, for people like me, the TED Talk format is very difficult. 18 मिनट में एक जगह खड़े रह के बोलना बहुत मुश्किल फॉर्मेट है हमारे लिए, क्योंकि ये जो टॉपिक दिया है इसके एक एक वर्ड पे 5-5 दिन बोलना भी कम है, चाहे वो इमोशनल रेजिलियंस हो, चाहे वेलबीइंग हो और चाहे इंक्लूजन हो. I'll try to be brief, but the format of my talk I want all of you to understand, because the topic is vast and intense, and so I want your 100% attention for the next 10 minutes. How many of you are with me over here? Great. Friends, हम क्या करेंगे? 10 मिनट में से 3-4 मिनट प्रॉब्लम के बारे में बात करेंगे. And then I'm going to give you a framework which you can take away, so that जब आप अगली बार मुझे मिलें 3 साल बाद, 5 साल बाद, 10 साल बाद, आप मुझे बताएं कि हम वहाँ पर मिले थे मुंबई सहोदया में, वहाँ हमने ये सीखा था, उसको हमने ऐसे इम्प्लीमेंट किया, and we are experiencing well-being. Okay? This is a deal? ऐसे ही करें? Great. Friends, प्रॉब्लम क्या है? क्यों हमको रेजिलियंस, प्रोटेक्शन, वेलबींग के बारे में सोचना पड़ रहा है? Is because पहले इस टॉपिक को थोड़ा ऑर्गेनाइज कर लेते हैं. Well-being actually incorporates both emotional resilience and safety. Safety माने protection from any kind of violence, neglect, exploitation or discrimination at the hand of others. तो well-being को सेंटर में रख के ये दोनों चीज़ों के बारे में हम बात कर लेते हैं. Well-being माने anybody? Well-being? Can you give me 3 words for well-being? Sir? अब मुझे नहीं पता है लोग आपको दोबारा गिफ्ट देंगे कि नहीं, पर ठीक. हाँ. Having good physical and mental health or happiness. Sir? Satisfaction. Very good. Dear friends, well-being का बहुत सारे definitions हैं, पर ऑक्सफोर्ड की डिक्शनरी में 3 वर्ड्स हमको मिल जाते हैं बहुत आसानी से. कंफर्टेबल. आर यू ऑल कंफर्टेबल ओवर हियर? और अभी थोड़ा एसी कम हो जाए तो फिर अनकंफर्टेबल हो जाएंगे, सब निकल के बाहर भागने लगेंगे. तो कंफर्ट, बट कंफर्ट दो तरह का है. डियर फ्रेंड्स, इज लाइफ इन जनरल कंफर्टेबल? We want it to be, but unfortunately, it is not. Life कैसी है? Full of challenges, difficulties, adversities, uncertainties, pain, है ना? And in this life, we get moments of comfort. कुछ कुछ मोमेंट्स मिल जाते हैं कंफर्ट के, खुशी के, डिलाइट के, हैप्पीनेस के. जैसे अभी मैंने अपने बचपन की वीरावाली को देखा स्टेज पे. उनके एवी में किसी ने वीरावाली लगाया ही नहीं, पर ये वीरावाली है, ये केवल हमारी जनरेशन समझ सकती है ना. और ये क्या था? मोमेंट ऑफ हैप्पीनेस. स्टडीड विथ pain, we have moments of comfort. Health, बहुत बड़ा vast word है. And third is happy. देखो, पॉल एकमैन नाम के एक साइंटिस्ट हुए. आप लोगों ने कुछ पैड पेन रखा हुआ तो अच्छा रहेगा, नहीं तो फोन का नोट्स खोल लीजिए. मैं आपको कुछ कुछ चीजें बताती रहूंगी, नोट कर लीजिएगा. पॉल एकमैन एक साइंटिस्ट हुए. उन्होंने 6 इमोशंस के बारे में बताया, 6 यूनिवर्सल इमोशंस, एंड ओनली one of them is a positive emotion. So my dear friends, being a human being, we are born with more negative emotions than positive ones. And as a part of our evolution, we learn to live with these negative emotions, experience them for our own benefit. पर क्या होता है? Appropriate negative emotion is called as HNE, healthy negative emotion. जब वही emotion inappropriate हो जाता है, it becomes unhealthy negative emotion. So for example, जो fear था कोरोना वायरस के समय, वो कैसा था? हेल्दी फियर था, क्योंकि अगर उतना फियर हमें नहीं होता तो हम हाथ नहीं धोते, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग नहीं रखते, मास्क नहीं लगाते. पर अगर अत्यधिक हो जाए, जहां पर हम घरों से बाहर निकलना ही बंद कर दे, देन इट बिकम्स अनहेल्दी नेगेटिव इमोशन. ओके, सो वेलबीइंग किसकी? हुज वेलबीइंग आर वी टॉकिंग अबाउट? किसकी? All the stakeholders. All the stakeholders. ये गलती मत करिए कि हम केवल बच्चों की वेलबींग के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. As a researcher, my interest in the last few years, and especially after pandemic, has moved towards teachers' well-being. Why? Many of you know that I'm conducting workshops in your schools for teachers' self-care. Why? Anyone? Because, simple reason, a child's well-being is embedded in their environment. And what is their environment? Composed of teachers and parents. अगर हम इनकी बात नहीं करेंगे तो बच्चों की वेलबींग हो ही नहीं सकती. घर में कष्ट है, घर में तकलीफ है, घर में गुस्सा है, घर में इरिटेशन है, तो बच्चे की वेलबींग कैसे हो सकती है? हाउ कैन वी डिटरमाइन दैट? एंड सो वी हैव टू लुक एट the key components of well-being for teachers as well as the whole family unit and the community. What are these? Positive emotions. We just talked about it. Positive relationships. How many of you think Positive relationships are a key determinant for well-being. Please raise your hands. हम अच्छा खा लें, अच्छा पहन लें, सब कुछ कर लें, पर किसी से कोई जरा सी बात हो जाए तो रातों की नींद उड़ जाती। किस किस की उड़ती है? सबकी। फ्रेंड्स, 2 दिन पहले एनसीआरबी ने 2022 का सुसाइड का डेटा रिलीज किया। धिक्कार है हम जैसे साइकोलॉजिस्ट पर कि आज भी हमारे यहाँ सुसाइड रेट बढ़ता ही चला जा रहा है। एंड इंडिया हैज बिकम द सुसाइड कैपिटल ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। एंड फ्रेंड्स, to quote the data, 71.8% of the total deaths by suicide are of men. That's shaking me up since I have read that data. Our men are dying, my dear friends. And 12% of the total suicides are of students, especially adolescent age group. और जो सबसे बड़ा कारण उसमें उभर कर आया वो है relationships and family problems, marriage related problems. It has become imperative for us to nurture our relationships. How do we do that? Anybody? कैसे nurture करें relationships? Madam? नहीं आए। बहुत अच्छा भाई, इनको भी कुछ गिफ्ट विफ्ट दो भाई, बहुत अच्छे आंसर्स। यस मैम। Healthy communication, sharing and caring, the 3 mantras she has given. Yeah. जियो और भाई जीने दो, ना मुझे परेशान करो ना तुम परेशान हो। मैडम। हाँ, पॉजिटिव एनवायरमेंट रखो। माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, मैं जहाँ भी जाती हूँ, यस, देखो तुम मेरा टाइम खा जाओगे तो फिर ये लोग मुझे अभी स्टेज से उतार देंगे जी। Exactly, very good, wonderful. That's empathy. My dear friends, also I give you a small mantra taught to me by John Gottman. Build a culture of appreciation. मेरी साड़ी कैसी लग रही है? पहली बार मैंने अपनी जिंदगी में ऐसी साड़ी पहनी जो खोसने में पूरी आ रही है। छोटी सी चीज, but I can appreciate it, है ना? अपने आसपास देखो, टी ब्रेक का सबका होमवर्क है एक दूसरे की कोई तारीफ करना। देखो पूरा एटमॉस्फेयर कैसे बदल जाएगा कि नहीं? So friends, positive relationships, purpose in life, low levels of negative emotion, माने low levels of negative emotions माने healthy negative emotions तो रहेंगे, unhealthy negative emotions को regulate करना सीखना होगा। कैसे? आज तो नहीं सिखा सकती, कभी और सिखाऊंगी। देखो बहुत ही स्टार्क स्टैटिस्टिक है, चाइल्ड वेलबींग में हम कौन से नंबर पर आ रहे हैं। और मेरा YouTube पे MGM यूनिवर्सिटी औरंगाबाद का एक लेक्चर है, उसमें मैंने पूरा बताया इसके बारे में, ज़रूर पढ़ना। माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, 70% of our children who come to schools all over the country come without a breakfast. They are hungry. एक छोटा सा, हम लोग तो सारे प्रिविलेज स्कूल्स के प्रिंसिपल्स यहाँ बैठे हैं, एक छोटा सा तरीका मैंने रूरल स्कूल्स को सिखाया कि अपने क्लास में घर से आते हुए bring a bunch of bananas, bring few packets of biscuit. बच्चों को कुछ पढ़ाने से पहले कुछ खिला दो. चाइल्ड वेलबीइंग में फिजिकल हेल्थ भी आती है. एंड ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. टीचर्स वेलबींग पे हम लोग रिसर्चेस कंडक्ट कर रहे हैं, कुछ स्कूल से सैंपल्स इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज द लेवल ऑफ स्ट्रेस, इमोशनल फटीग, प्रॉब्लम्स विथ रेजिलियंस, लो एनर्जी लेवल and problems in connecting with others, in teachers in our schools. How many of you think that this is important? Please raise your hands. What can you do before we do anything, before CBSE does anything, before government does anything? What can you do? Anything that you can do? A suggestion from you, please. What can you do? वहां पर somebody raised a hand, पीछे में. Yes, yes, madam, please. Please. Yes. Build a culture of appreciation, and I am adding one more to that, peer support culture. Peer support culture. हम लोग कौन से कल्चर में पैदा हुए, बड़े हुए? कंपैरिजन के कल्चर में. कंपैरिजन से नेचुरली क्या आ जाता है? क्रिटिसिज्म आ जाता है. मुझे अच्छा बनना है तो किसी को बुरा बताना है. मुझे अगर बेस्ट बनना है तो कोई गुड है, कोई पुअर है, कोई वीक है ना? पीयर सपोर्ट का कल्चर तब बन पाएगा when we abolish social comparison and we say we own whatever we are. भाई काले हैं तो क्या हुआ, दिल वाले हैं. प्यार पाने का हक तो हमको भी उतना ही है जितना गोरे लोगों को है. सोशल कंपैरिजन और डिस्क्रिमिनेशन दूर करना सबसे पहले हमारे हाथ में है. ओके, चलिए. मैं पता है अभी नेगेटिव इमोशन में कर रही हूं, समझ में आ रहा है ना? जल्दी करना है. So 60 to 70 million people in our country are suffering from moderate to severe mental health disorder, my dear friends, and this is an underreported statistic. तो इसका मतलब in every family there is at least one person who is having a mental health disorder. अब इससे ज़्यादा क्या बताएं? प्रॉब्लम को हमने बहुत बता लिया. अब चलते हैं ज़रा, देख लो. यह अभी की रिपोर्ट है जो 2 दिन पहले रिलीज हुई है. What do we do? करें क्या इसके लिए? थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट कॉन्सेप्ट साइकोलॉजी का आप लोगों तक पहुंचाना चाह रही हूं. This is a framework for you as a teacher, for you as a wife, for you as a parent, which you can take to your school, to your school children and to your own children, my dear friends. Moving from psychological rigidity to psychological flexibility. So there are 6 components of psychological rigidity. ये कौन से हैं? देखो, सबसे पहला inflexible attention. Inflexible attention मतलब 3 Ds. इस वक्त किस किस का मन यहाँ पर है और किस किस का मन कहीं और है? लाओ जरा चुपके से देख लो क्या है व्हाट्सएप में. कोई फोटो अपलोड कर दूं फटाक से फेसबुक पर, जरा बाहर देखे आऊं चाय बननी शुरू हो गई या नहीं। डिस्ट्रैक्टिबिलिटी, सेकेंड डिसएंगेजमेंट, एंड थर्ड डिसकनेक्शन। इनफ्लेक्सिबल अटेंशन, तो ये इनफ्लेक्सिबल मतलब ये कहाँ है अटेंशन, ईदर इन द पास्ट और इन द फ्यूचर। अभी मैं बोल रही हूं आपके सामने, पर मन जा रहा है पीछे जो कुछ हुआ उसकी तरफ, या आगे जो होने वाला है उसकी तरफ। यार मुझे तो फ्लाइट कैच करनी है, लंच करके जाऊं या बिना लंच करे चली जाऊं, रास्ते में खा लूं, क्या करूं क्या नहीं, उसकी सोच अभी स्टार्ट हो गई। दैट इज we are fluctuating from the past to the future, future to the past, past to the future. What about the present moment? Quickly, I am giving you the mantra to connect with the present moment. Every 2 minutes that you do that during the day, आपको meditation जितना फायदा मिलेगा। क्या करना है? अपने नाक, कान, टेस्ट, अपनी जो स्किन है, बेयर स्किन जितनी भी आपकी है, और अपनी आंखें, उनसे प्रेजेंट मोमेंट को महसूस करना है। इस वक्त कितने कलर्स दिख रहे हैं मुझे आसपास, कौन सी स्मेल आ रही है, क्या कानों में सुनाई दे रहा है, क्या मेरे मुंह में टेस्ट है, और कैसा मुझे सेंसेशन हो रहा है। हर 2 मिनट पूरे दिन भर में आप जितनी बार करेंगे, यू विल बी एबल टू कनेक्ट टू द प्रेजेंट मोमेंट। इट विल गिव यू द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ हाफ एन आवर ऑफ मेडिटेशन। Then we go to remoteness of values. हमको करना कुछ है लाइफ में, पर कर कुछ रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमने अपने हार्ट के डीपेस्ट डिजायर्स के बारे में कभी सोचा ही नहीं। तो किसके बारे में सोचा? How will I keep my parents happy? कौन कौन ऐसा है जो सक्सेसफुल होता गया तो ये सोचता गया, मैं अपने मम्मी पापा के लिए बढ़िया सा घर बना दूं, उनके लिए गाड़ी खरीद दूं, उनके लिए मैं नौकर चाकर रख दूं। हमारा कल्चर ऐसा है that we have forgotten about our heart's deepest desires and we live in approval seeking, whether it is the approval of our parents or the approval of our principal. जिसमें वो खुश, उसमें मैं खुश। Connect with your own values. Unworkable action. अभी हम बात कर रहे थे, पिछले स्पीकर्स ने बहुत अच्छी बात करी। कमिटेड एक्शन, कौन कौन एक्सरसाइज को प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट करता है? मैं करती थी थोड़े दिन पहले। आई एम ए डायबिटिक। मुझे बोलते थे रोज 10,000 स्टेप वॉक करना है, तो मैं बोलती थी कल से करूंगी। द डे आई थॉट 100 steps is better than 0 steps, I started walking. And I've already reached comfortably 3,000 steps. 3,000 steps, my dear friends, is much better than kal se karungi. Agreed? Then we have fusion with self-concept. दृष्टा भाव में हम रहें, ये दुनिया एक तमाशा है। इसमें लिप्त हुए बिना कैसे हम इस तमाशे को एंजॉय करें? फ्यूजन विद पास्ट, फ्यूचर, रीजंस, आई एम वर्थलेस। मंत्रा, नोट डाउन। I am having a thought that I am worthless. I am noticing that I am having a thought that I am worthless. Makes you distance from that thought. Makes you see that this is a thought, not a fact. And my dear friends, experiential avoidance. All emotions are worth experiencing. They make your life rich, full and meaningful. दर्द के पल में भी उतना ही जीवन है दोस्तों। अगर हम होते ही नहीं तो दर्द भी नहीं होता। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, ma'am, for such an insightful session. I now request Mrs. Raj Aloni, Secretary, Mumbai, Sahodaya, to felicitate Dr. Chinu Agarwal. A huge round of applause for Dr. Chinu Agarwal. Thank you, ma'am. Now we resume with session 6. We are indeed privileged to have Dr. Anand Lakshman, CEO of Address Health, with us today. Sir is going to present an interesting session on Mera Bacha Healthy Hai Ji. Please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Anand Lakshman. I request the AV team to play the video.
Dr. Anand Lakshman. He is the CEO of Address Health, providing primary care continuum in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, and Delhi NCR. His professional background includes extensive work with government, international agencies, and NGOs at district, state, national, and international levels. He has co-authored Best Practices paper on micronutrient supplements for child survival and is a medical consultant to WHO, contributed to setting up the revised National TB Control Program with a visionary leadership role in Address Health and a profound impact across districts and states in India. Dr. Anand has played a pivotal role in shaping national health policies.
Hello. Yeah, thank you. So, since we heard Mr. Ramesh Shippi speak, I thought, let me give an introduction in his own film language. Chinu Agarwal ma'am was saying that she doesn't like the TED style talk, but I like the andaz of TEDx kind of speech, and I'll try to restrict it to the 18-minute, 19-minute format. And I hope to spark a few Sholay in you today with some of the things that I'll talk about. And I hope that I'll lay the bunyad for different style of thinking on the topic that I'm going to talk about today. So what I'm going to speak about today is Mera Bacha To Healthy Hai Ji. Everybody feels that. I want you to recognize the perils of normalizing overnutrition and obesity among children. Now I thought long and hard about this subtopic, okay. I thought, do I want to become the Shashi Tharoor of medical education to all of you, right? I said, could I just say, nahi, but I thought, no, unless as a public health physician, I give you a few complicated words, you will not start believing in what I'm going to speak. So I said, recognizing the perils of normalizing overnutrition, obesity in children. So let's walk through that. I was born in 1974, that's proof, and I was underweight, premature, and today, proudly at 49, running 50, my BMI is 27.3, I'm categorized as overweight. So I will tell you the journey from 1974, born premature, less than 2.5 kgs in weight, to where I am today, and what is the risk for the generation that is coming forward now. So if I could make that journey and become what is today and the challenges I face with my health, what is the challenge the next generation is going to face? The US is something all of us look forward to. All global economies look to the growth that the US has had in the past and try to see if we can map that growth. While economic growth happened in the US from 1960s, if I take 4 decades, the percentage of overweight children went from approximately 4% to 16%, quadrupled. So as the economy in the US moved from the 1960s to the 2000s, the percentage of children who are overweight in the US went 4 times higher. Now let's look at India. Before that, worldwide, in 3 decades, there has been a 10x increase in obesity among school children. There are 200 million school children who are either overweight or obese. And in India, we are looking at 1.7 crore children being obese by 2025. Now, to back this data, we have the peculiar challenge of dual burden of malnutrition. What is dual burden of malnutrition? You see, in India, we have a large proportion of children who are still undernourished, which is the problem they're talking about, no food. And you can see this in this data that I am presenting from Address Health's data of more than 2 lakh children, that we have a very large percentage of children who are underweight or thin, 7 and 14% respectively. But I want to draw your attention to the other half of this, and that is we have equally in the cities that we are working in, 13 and 12% of children who are overweight and obese. And if I want to give you just a slice of information for few cities, just to show you what that means, let's look at the data from Pune, Delhi, and Bangalore, just as a comparison. And you will find that here we have undernutrition. We have about 6 to 9% of children who are undernourished. But if you look at the data carefully, Delhi has 14.4% children who are overweight in schools, data that I am presenting here, and almost 12% children overweight in Bangalore. So this dual burden of malnutrition is very real, but I want to take you to the overnutrition side and tell you what's happening there. Just look at this data very carefully. This is from the National Family Health Survey, last round that happened, okay? The National Family Health Survey says in the 4 to 5 years age group, there are 2.5% children who are overweight, okay? 2.5. But as you go along the age groups, this is the adolescent age group, you are having only about 5-6% overweight, 20 to 29 years, 30 to 39 years, 40 to 49. So this cohort, 40 to 49, 40 years back they were kids. And at that time, the prevalence of obesity was very low in this population as well. But today, I belong in this category here, 36 and 32% among men and women respectively. So if the starting point is so low, and in 40 years, that is what the numbers you're going to see, what will happen with the numbers that we are going to project now? Among affluent children, this is a study by Dr. Khadilkar, among affluent children, this is only children going to, of the top 20% income quintile, okay? Among among affluent children, you will find approximately 10-11% are overweight and about 12 and 18% obesity in the age group of 2 to 17 years, okay? This is only affluent children. And largely, many of you will be able to see this in your school data as well. But there is a big headline that is coming every day, that 1 in 5 children are obese, they are going to have lifestyle diseases, what's going to happen to the society, how are we going to manage it, all of these things are going to happen. And they say the economic impact of this is going to be very huge because there is going to be increased healthcare expenditure, but not only that, there is going to be premature death, there is going to be absenteeism, and there is something called presenteeism. That means you report to work, but you don't work to your full potential. You're just there. So this is going to be a very big cost for the nation, and we have a chance to make a difference now. So some facts and figures. About 50% of obese children will end up becoming obese adults. This is data. And these, as obese adults, will have a high risk of diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and mental health issues, right? A lot of mental health issues which go unaddressed, bullying, self-image, especially in teenage children, a lot of self-image issues associated with obesity. Now, what are the factors that are to be considered? Urbanization. You see, our urban cities are planned in such a way that we are promoting obesity. Because we are designing the cities in such a way that all those things that we think are right physical activities, the children are not safe to do those activities. The children don't have space to do those things. And then the way in which the schools and the shops and all of that are built. Dietary habits. You all know very well what kind of dietary habits are available today and what kind of habits are being practiced at home and in school. Then there is a whole family and epigenetic, okay? We have this huge problem in India, okay? It's called the thrifty gene syndrome. The thrifty gene syndrome says we have generations of famine in India, right? So the people died in large number during each famine. The people who survived are the ones who could store fat around their belly. So when the next generation of those guys who survived reproduced, they had another famine. A lot of people died. Then those who survived were the genetics who had the best ability to store fat around the journey. So my problem is not my problem, it's my great-great-great-great-grandfather's problem, right? So we have the ability as Indians to store fat around the belly. Only those ancestors of us survived the famines, and now we have a lot of food. So what's happening? Whatever we're eating is getting stored and promoting metabolic diseases. And the other important factor is parental education and occupation. What is the parents' education status? What kind of occupations they are in? Are they able to give the time required for, time to spend to cook the right meals? Is it possible today, or is it just easy to order on Swiggy because of time of work schedules we are maintaining? So these are some of the factors. Now, it's not that the first 5-10 minutes of my talk was focused on alarming you, okay? Always they say bad news sells. So I can easily make a bad news and say it. But what do we do to address it? To address childhood obesity, there is the standard action triad from which all schools, all communities, all societies, all parents can learn. And that is basically 3 things, right? All of us know it. Increasing physical activity, behavior modification, and good nutrition practices. The child and the family are at the center of this. How do we plan these things with the child and the family and the community and the school, focusing on the 3 things: good nutrition practices, increased physical activity, and behavior modification. And each one of these has got an important role. We'll discuss that just as I go along. I must tell you, I have 10 minutes left on the clock, and I promise to finish in 5 to 7 minutes flat. And then I want to take at least 2 more questions at the end of this. What are the key issues? What are the key issues that we have to deal with as a school? How to recognize obesity in children? That's a very important question, right? Many times we come across, many school principals tell me, in the report, aap wo obesity wala hata dijiye, that my parents don't like it. Aap kisi ko bhi obese bol dete ho. I'll come to the fact what we mean by recognizing obesity. Physical activity and eating habits, we'll discuss a little about it. Finding time and space in the school curriculum. This is the biggest challenge for the school principal, right? How do I find time for this? I have to do math, I have to do science, I have to do so many things. And you're telling me, doctor, to address obesity after 40 years? Great. We'll have great IIT scientists, IIT engineers who are all ending up with diabetes and hypertension. So what do we want to do? Next one, parental awareness. Most of us face this challenge. Parents are not having the type of awareness we need. We can tell the children, but what about the parents? So first thing, recognizing, tracking, and obesity, okay? I'll give you a few indicators and tell you the challenge of each one and tell you one golden indicator that we can use in schools. First one, weight for age. WHO has the multicentric growth reference study from which all of us draw the weight for age data, okay? But the challenge of the weight for age data is that it's only up to 10 years of age. Because puberty starts anytime between 10, 11, and 12, 13, depending on boys or girls and these things, right? So WHO says, weight for age, don't use beyond 10 years of age. Graphs are available, you can use those graphs. But what do you do after 10 years of age? So, not a good indicator beyond primary school. Next, very good indicator, body mass index for age. All of you know as adults, the body mass index is between 18 and 25 is normal. But for children, it's not like that because children are growing every month. So younger children will have very different type of BMI for age. So the BMI for age charts are also very useful. And we have up to 18 years of age data from WHO, MGRS, the Multicentric Growth Reference Study, which Address Health uses in its data to interpret whether children are thin, severely thin, or obese, or overweight, okay? So BMI for age is good, but the problem is you have to decide, you have to use a chart. And you have to go look at that chart and you have to look, it's a little complicated for somebody to do it. So what do? Then there is a new indicator called waist for age. So St. John's Medical College in Bangalore did a landmark study in 2017. They first mapped the waist recording for children, school children across India. First published paper came out. Very good data, waist for age. But again, you have to go and refer to those charts. You have to refer to the chart to see, oh, child is so many months old, and this is the waist, and what is the interpretation, okay? And this only interprets for obesity. So, these are good indicators, but these indicators require doctors like me to help you. So, I'm happy to help you, but all the time I may not be able to help you. So, I want to give you one simple indicator to implement at home, to implement in your school, with addressal, without addressal. It doesn't matter, but simple indicator. And that simple indicator is called waist for height. Any age group, it makes no difference. Take the height of the child in centimeters, height in centimeters, measure the waist. And most people, when I say waist, they don't know what to measure. The medical definition of waist is lowest point of rib, highest point of hip, midpoint. Lowest rib, highest point of hip, midpoint is called waist, okay? So, waist to height ratio, anything more than 0.5 is a risk. For example, I am 179 centimeters tall, okay? Which is approximately 71 inches, and I have a 36-inch waist. So 36 by 71 is less than 5, 0.5, I'm okay. But if I had a 40-inch waist, I'm at risk. Simple indicator. Take the measure in height, take the measure in centimeters, take the waist in centimeters, between here and here. Don't measure waist somewhere else. Measure lowest rib, hip. And waist for 8, 0.5. More than 0.5 is a risk. Age independent, easily you can interpret. I have 6 minutes on the clock. So I need to really hurry, okay? I need to do this running bit to get it right, okay? So next one, communicating with parents. This is where all of us face a challenge, right? All fine, doctor, you told me waist for age, 0.5, all this fine. But parents will create such a ruckus. They'll say, "Arey, aapne to maths mein number low de diya, ab obesity mein high number de rahe ho. What is this?" Right? So parents' acceptance is the first step. Very difficult to convince parents. And very clearly, yesterday somebody was telling general election ke baad north-south divide. I see a clear divide, north-south divide when it comes to obesity. In the north of India, I find very difficult to tell parents, they say, "Mera bachcha to healthy hai ji, aap isko obese bol rahe ho." In south, I find little bit more acceptance, okay? So this is the first step. This school report card, what is this? Your child is obese. But parental recognition of both nutritional status and concern matters. The parent should have concern and start implementing things. Only then things will change, okay? And parents should be role models, the biggest challenge, right? We tell, "Oh, the children, you should eat healthy and all of that." And then I come home and open the fridge and there's one big bottle of cola there. There is no way I can be a role model if I say, "I am going to have my bottle of cola there." Only you as a child need to practice drinking water. It doesn't work. We need to be role model. 4.5 minutes on the clock, so I need to go a little faster. What are the myths that parents harbor about obesity in children? First, common myth. Plump children are healthy children. No. Plump children are at risk of lifestyle diseases. Second, "Oh, with age, doctor, child will gain weight, height, and all the weight will be lost." 50% of obese children end up becoming obese adults, okay? Then, children don't have BP, okay? Address Health, we measure BP of children class 9 and above, okay? I'll tell you data, just look at this. 5.3% of children in our data set of 22,853 children above class 8, that is 9 onwards, out of 22,000 children, 5.3% have high BP. 13.2% have pre-hypertensive. That means if they don't keep in check, they will end up with hypertension. Okay? And when I diagnose BP in children, they say, "Are you joking?" Okay? So children should eat, drink, be merry. Childhood will never return. This is another common thing. Yes, childhood will never return. But what is the childhood we are giving children today? Watch TV, watch internet, don't go out to play because it's not safe. That is the childhood we are giving children today. Okay? So these have concern and take real action. This is the point that I want to stress about. Beat the myth on that it's okay for a child to be slightly obese. Now, what is the role of schools when it comes to tackling child obesity? Okay? First thing, BMI or waist for age should be part of the health checkup. In health checkup, you should include BMI for age and waist for height. It should be reported and it should be interpreted, and you should tell parents that this is what we want you to take action on. Number 2, health and nutrition education and physical activity policy should be there. Every school should have a health, nutrition, education policy, as CBSE has already defined in its health, physical education policy. Lay down the policy which is culturally appropriate for your school, and lay down the physical activity policy. Next, find time in the curriculum for health and nutrition education. When we go and do health and nutrition education schools, the biggest challenge principal tells us is, it's all good, your curriculum is good, but there's no time. So I say 1 period per month, ma'am. 1 period per month, please give us to do health and nutrition education in schools. And focus on behavior change. Next one. Second, monitor what is available to eat in and around school. And next, increase the opportunity for physical activity. Last 2 minutes on my talk, so I have to go. Other thing is, focus on those at risk. So if a child is obese, child is overweight, give them more opportunity for physical activity. There is something called guided play. You keep equipment, skipping rope, other equipment, focus on children who are at risk. Tell your PE teachers, give them more chance. Let them have the access because they are being bullied. They don't have the access to these physical activity equipment. So the action points going forward on childhood obesity. Number one, have enabling policies and framework in place. What is your recess time? Sometimes we tell children to eat healthy and we find the recess time is so short they can't eat healthy. Give enough time for eating healthy. Everyday physical activity, focus on children at risk, health and nutrition education in the curriculum. I am going to complete definitely in 1 minute now. Increasing awareness. Increase the awareness on rising trends of obesity and ways to identify obesity. Don't normalize obesity. Please don't tell it's okay. It's not okay, try to work on it. Next. Yes, develop school-wide programs, increase physical activity, focus on children at risk. Important, identify the children at risk and focus on them. Next one, encourage good nutrition practice at home and school. It cannot be solved by school alone. Parents, how do you encourage and teach them? Finally, run a campaign on reducing screen time at home. Keep reminding children that they have to reduce screen time at home. And help families with behavior change. Make sure that you can educate both the family and the child and not only the child. And therefore, the action points are very clear. Enabling policy framework, increasing awareness, school-wide programs, good nutrition practice at home and school, and families, helping families with behavior change. With that, I come to the last part of my talk, that is thanks for your patience. Because it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Most of us doctors will be very happy if you have a lot of sick kids because we have the ability to then take care of them in the hospital. We want you to focus on making sure that we build these strong children than having a hospital full of 6 people to take care of 40 years from now. Please make that effort to solve this in the future. Thank you so much. If I can be given a 1 minute or 2 minutes for any burning question or answers, I will take that. If anybody has any burning issue, any disagreement, any point you want clarification, we can take it offline as well. But if anybody has, are there mics? Anybody with mics? Yes. You want just 2 minutes, I'll take. Yes, one question, sir. Just 2 minutes, I'll take. Yes. Yes, please. And if somebody can be ready with a mic there, just 2 questions, please.
The stats you shared, like almost 50% of the children who are obese will carry that obesity when they grow.
Adult.
I read it somewhere, I'm not able to recall that. It was written that the children below 10 years, if they are obese, there is a probability is very less when they carry that obesity.
In my presentation or otherwise?
No, others.
Otherwise.
So there is a conflict, so I just wanted to...
So please locate that source of information.
Yeah.
That information is not true. There are serial studies in the US which clearly show if a child... See, the first childhood obesity before 6 months of age, with breastfeeding, with complementary feeding, it can be reduced. But a child who is obese at school age, 5+ beyond, is at 50% risk of obesity and lifestyle diseases in adulthood. That data is very clear. We can talk offline and discuss the data. I can flood you with that data. But any other questions or can I end the talk? One more, please. Yes.
Thank you, doctor, for delivering wonderful session.
Yes.
Just one question. If you can clarify a little bit about food addiction.
Food addiction?
Food addiction.
Yeah.
Because I come to know that the world's biggest addiction is food addiction.
Yeah. Okay. Sir, very briefly, I will speak about it. See, when you say food addiction, etc., it's a clinical, we can talk about clinical syndrome where children are really, addicted to fast food, especially because instant gratification. What happens? See, many of you use the word junk food, okay? It's okay to use the word junk food, but we don't know the definition of junk food. Junk food is called HFSS food. High fat, sugar and salt food is called junk food, okay? So don't say, oh, any chart is junk food. Not necessary. My time is up. Sir, I will just tell you it's a clinical syndrome. you can address it very easily with counseling and the triad. Rest we'll talk off stage. Please come. Thank you very much for your time and sorry for delaying this talk.
Thank you, sir, for the informative session. Sir, please stay on the stage. I request Mrs. Ranjana Jangra, Vice President Mumbai Sahodaya, to felicitate Dr. Anand Lakshman. Please put your hands together for Dr. Anand Lakshman. Now, let me take the privilege of inviting Dr. Sarita Jadhav, National Program Officer, UNESCO, Delhi, for a session on strengthening health and wellness in school. I request AV team to play the introduction of Dr. Sarita Jadhav.
Miss Sarita Jadhav, National Program Officer, UNESCO, Delhi. Miss Sarita is a development specialist with more than 2 decades of experience. Her expertise in public health, strategic planning, coordination, program management, research advocacy, and partnerships in United Nations, bilateral and international development agency. She possesses technical expertise on sexual and reproductive health, gender-based violence, HIV/AIDS, with a particular focus on human rights, gender, and young people. As a National Program Officer at UNESCO, Sarita Jadhav continues to contribute significantly to the advancement of crucial issues, leaving an indelible mark on this landscape of public health and development.
Very good morning to everybody. Can I have a louder good morning? Much better. Thank you so much. It's indeed an honor and a pleasure for me to be here, standing in front of all of you. I'm very grateful to the Mumbai Sahodaya, to the officials of CBSE who are present with us today, and all the principals and teachers who are here with us today. I welcome you all to this session. And I'd just like to say that I've been asked to talk about health and well-being today. My previous speaker has made it very easy because he's spoken about obesity, about good health and well-being. I'd just like to share with you that when we talk about health, why are we here? Why are we talking about health in a national conference of Mumbai Sahodaya? Because we all know, as educationists, as teachers, as principals, that healthy children learn better. If we invest in the health and well-being of our learners, they will perform better. There will be better educational outcomes. The government of India also recognizes that health and well-being is a priority for our country. We have so many principals over here, some of whom I've had the good fortune of interacting with, and it's wonderful to connect with all of you again. Over the last couple of years, I'll tell you what we've done. The government of India, acknowledging that health and well-being of adolescents is critical, launched the Ayushman Bharat program in 2018. As part of the Ayushman Bharat program, there is one component which focuses on school health and wellness. The program was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, in 2018. After that, there were various UN agencies, experts, academia, civil society members. We all had a collaboration with the NCERT, and we developed a curriculum framework focusing specifically on the health and well-being of our learners. There was a lot of brainstorming which was done, and we identified key areas that are necessary for a life of an adolescent. Now, when we talk about adolescents, you know that we are talking about the age group between 10 to 19 years. And that is where the maximum growth takes place. So when this group came together, it was called as the National Resource Group, we identified 11 different themes which are very, very crucial for the health and well-being of an adolescent. So we are talking about growing up healthy, where we talk about what is the process of growing up, puberty, menstruation, body changes, body image, etc. We are talking about mental health. One of my previous speakers highlighted the need for sound mental health. The NCRB data was also shared. 35,000 students have committed suicide in our country in the last 3 years. And all of you would agree with me that they are not growing up as resilient human beings. There is a lot of stress. There is a lot of anxiety. There is emotional distress. When I interact with children as old as 8, 9, 10, बच्चे बोलते हैं मैम बहुत स्ट्रेस है. And why are you so stressed? पढ़ाई का प्रेशर है, पेरेंट्स का प्रेशर है, academics का बहुत प्रेशर है. Now all of you principals, teachers, academicians who are here in this room, can you imagine the pain of a 9-year-old who's going through this stress? And many of the principals told me that children say, हमारी कोई नहीं सुनता है. Nobody listens to us. Nobody has the time. We don't know what to do. So we are talking about mental health and emotional well-being. I think it's extremely crucial. The government of India also has recently released the Ummeed guidelines. I'm not sure how many of you have seen it, but please do go through it. We are also working very closely with CBSE in developing a capacity building program specifically focusing on mental health. We are talking about nutrition. My previous speaker has already highlighted the need for good nutrition. Because in our country, there are issues to do with malnutrition also. There are issues to do with stunted growth. There is anemia. So there's a need to talk about nutrition. Interpersonal skills. How do we communicate with each other? How do we relate to each other? Do we talk to each other with respect? Values and citizenship. We've already had a session in the morning half which talk about values. What are the good citizenship values that are necessary for our children to know about? We talk about safety and security. Why are we talking about safety and security? My previous speaker highlighted the need to address violence. All of you sitting in this room, when we open the papers in the morning, what do we see in the papers? Are our children safe in our schools? Or is it only some schools? When we say education is a fundamental human right, Sarva Siksha Abhiyan, sustainability development goals, sustainable development goals, when we talk about every child having access to a vibrant learning environment, and if our schools are not safe, where will our children go to? I've interacted with children very, very young, and I'll tell you very quickly, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 16-year-old children. The 13-year-old child drops out of school. I'm like, why did you drop out of school? Ma'am, there was a lot of violence. I could not take it. I dropped out of school. The 14-year-old girl, and why did you come out of school? I was bullied. The boys were pinching me. Everyone used to call me names. I dropped out of school. What do you do for a living? I beg in the trains. The 16-year-old girl, why did you drop out? I was raped in the school toilet. And these are not stories. These are experiences which are happening. It may not happen in your schools, but we all know that yes, there is violence and bullying that takes place. And as school leaders, as principals, each one of you has a role to play. How do we teach our children to respect each other? How can we teach our children to study in a safe atmosphere? How can we make our schools safe? An environment which is free from bullying and violence. There are other topics that we also talk. We talk about physical lifestyle, where there is a need. He's already highlighted obesity. Non-communicable diseases is on the rise among children. What can be done by the education sector, by all you principals sitting over here? How can you have this program? We are talking about drugs. You all know about drugs and substance abuse, about children who consume inhalants, who are into pharmaceutical drugs. We talk about HIV, sexual reproductive health. I'm sure all of you know there was a study which was conducted by WHO in the region, and the 3 main causes of mortality among adolescents, number 1 was road accidents. Number 2 was mental health issues and suicides. The third was HIV and AIDS. Our young children are sexually active. The age of sexual debut is going down with each passing year. How can we empower them with the knowledge, with the skills, with the right attitudes? When we talk about skills, what are we talking about? We are talking about decision making. We are talking about negotiation. We are talking about critical thinking, problem solving, all these life skills. And the school health and wellness program talks about these 11 different themes in a very systematic way, and we are talking about improving knowledge, life skills, having the right attitudes among our learners. Now, how can you do it? Very quickly, I'd like to share that over the last couple of years, UNESCO has a collaboration with CBSE. And under the able leadership of Madam Nidhi Chibbar, we are working very closely with the training director, Dr. Ram Shankar ji, and Dr. Emmanuel, and of course, Dr. Saha. We've had this excellent collaboration with CBSE where we are implementing the school health and wellness program. As part of this program, we've had trainings of master trainers at NCRT. Many of you have attended those training programs which we do in Delhi. And I'd like to share that in the last 1.5 years, we've trained about 350 master trainers directly in 5-day workshops in NCRT. Now, these master trainers have gone back to their respective schools and are collaborating with the centers of excellence and are training other teachers. So we trained 350, and now almost 8,500 other teachers have been trained on health and well-being, on the school health program. So I think it's all your good work, it's your commitment, it's your leadership. And I'd just like to say that let's not end there. We are continuing our collaboration. We will continue to work with all of you. But I'd just like to share something, that each one of you sitting in this room, you have the potential, you have the power, you are school leaders. You can change and make things happen. Please do not underestimate what you can do in your own schools. You can create magic. Every principal, every teacher in this room. My mother is a school teacher, was a school teacher. She taught for 35 years. And I know how much children used to like her and respect her. I still remember as a student, my teachers, what they taught me in school. So each one of you sitting over here in this group today has a power to change lives, to make education more interesting, more holistic. Academics are important. Yes, I do agree, marks are important. We have this crazy race for marks, 100%, 99%, 100%. Everybody wants their child to excel. But are we doing anything to improve the child's health and well-being? And when the child gets 2% less, sometimes children want to end their lives. What are we producing? Are we having a generation who's resilient, who's healthy, who's happy, who's skilled, who's knowledgeable? Or are we producing robos? I think what is really important is that let us all work together. Let us try and have this implementation of the school health program. This is a Government of India program. It is not an individual, it's not an NGO program. It's being led by the Prime Minister's office. Let's try and implement this program in the true spirit. The SDGs say leaving no one behind. And this program is being implemented in 15 lakh schools, government schools across the country. We said, why not CBSE schools? Every child has the right to access information. can we all work together and make sure that our schools are healthy, that our children are healthy, that they learn in an environment which is free from any kind of stigma, any kind of discrimination. When we say education is a fundamental human right, why should our children face bullying and violence? My friend Gauri is going to talk about it at length after me. But I think all of us sitting in this room today have a responsibility, and we count on your expertise, on your leadership, on your commitment to do this program. I would also like to share that sometimes when we work with school principals, they say, हाँ हम program कर रहे हैं. Sir, क्या program कर रहे हैं आप? 11 themes हैं, इतने सारे activities हैं. What is it that you're doing? हम assembly session में meditation करा देते हैं. But is that health and well-being? It is not. So if we really want that our children should grow well, so that they transition well, because these skills will help them to transition beautifully from childhood into adolescence, from adolescence into adulthood. So each one of us sitting over here has a responsibility. I would like to say that we are very happy for this collaboration, but I think the sky is the limit. Let's try and work together. If you need any support from UNESCO, please feel free to reach out to us. You can also tell CBSE, we work very closely. We would be more than happy to work with you, to support you in implementing this program in your schools. And we want that every child, when I visit the schools, no 8-year-old or 9-year-old should say कि मैं बहुत stress में हूँ. Because when I was 9 years old, I never knew what stress was. So I think let's all work together, and I thank you once again, Mumbai Sahodaya, CBSE, all the dear principals, teachers, speakers, everyone that's here today. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Rajiv sir, Rashmi Rekha ma'am, Jangra ma'am, everybody else over here. Thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to working with you in strengthening this program. Thank you very much.
I now request Dr. Rashmi Rekha Saha, Treasurer, Mumbai Sahodaya, to felicitate Dr. Sarida Jadhav. Thank you, ma'am. Next, I invite Shri Gauri Sawant, a champion for transgender rights and social welfare, to speak on the topic equity and equality for all genders. Please put your hands together to welcome Shri Gauri Sawant, and I request AV team to play the video.
Shri Gauri Sawant, a champion for transgender rights and social welfare. Shri Gauri Sawant is a prominent advocate for transgender rights and social welfare and the founder of the Sai Sevi Foundation Trust. Some of her notable achievements are: she is an active and prominent speaker with over 30 TED Talks. Shri Sawant is a key panelist in the Third Eye Summit to discuss core issues of the transgender community and notable speaker for various events. She has various trailblazing achievements as a feather to her cap. She is the first transgender election ambassador for the 2019 Lok Sabha election. The mission to her life is to protect and enhance the rights of transgenders and to save girl children from human trafficking and contributes to society's welfare.
स्टूडेंट बाहर होंगे, है ना, तो आपको भी पता है क्या तकलीफ होती होगी. तो आज मेरे जैसे स्टूडेंट को ये तकलीफ है कि यहाँ आने के लिए मुझे 26-27 साल लगे. सोशल सेक्टर में मैं काम कर रही हूँ. सफ़ेद बालों से मेरे उम्र का अंदाज़ा मत करिएगा. 26-27 सालों से मैं काम कर रही हूँ और ये मौके का मैं तलाश में थी कि यहाँ आके मैं बात करूँगी, ये जगह मेरे लिए है। मैं हमेशा कई जगह अनमिस जगह चली जाती हूँ जो मेरा क्षेत्र है नहीं, मैं प्रोफेशनल सोशल वर्कर हूँ, तो कई जगह मुझे कॉर्पोरेट में बुलाते हैं, कई अवार्ड्स देने के लिए बोलते हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि वो जगह मेरी नहीं है, बट दिस इज माई प्लेस वेयर आई हैव टू बी। सो धन्यवाद, नमस्कार। अगर मैंने कुछ गलत कहा तो मुझे माफ़ कर दीजिएगा, क्योंकि मैं थोड़ी सी द्वाड़ हूँ। मैं 2 चीज़ें बोलना पसंद करूँगी। जब मैं यहाँ आई तो मैंने देखा कि बाहर सब टीचर्स लोग थे, वेल टीचर्स, मतलब ड्रेस्ड अप आणि थे सगळे। मैं छोटा सा गेम खेलती हूँ, मुझे सिर्फ इसमें से आप कोई प्लस माइनस नहीं है, मैं मेरे लिए कर रही हूँ एक्सरसाइज। मैं सरिता से बोल रही थी तब, मुझे सिर्फ आपको एक सवाल पूछना है, आप लोगों के हाथों में कितने टीचर्स, सर मैडम सभी टीचर्स के हाथों में राशि की अंगूठी है, वो सिर्फ हाथ ऊपर कर दे। देखो झूठ ना बोलो, देखो झूठ ना बोलो, सीधा नंबर। कोई भी स्टोन, जेमिनी क्या बोलते हैं उसको, पन्ना है, पुष्कराज है, कोई भी है, डायमंड है, प्रिंसिपल होने के बाद डायमंड पहन सकते हो, डायमंड है, ये आपको बराबर लग गया। नहीं, अरे मैम आपने जो बिंदी लगाई वो मेरे सीने तक लगी हुई है ना। आपको मैं इसका कारण बताती हूं, आप कोई भी पत्थर नहीं पहनोगे ना तो भी आप गुरुस्थान पे हो, क्योंकि आपका कुंडली में गुरु ग्रह इतना मजबूत है करके आप इस प्रोफेशनल में, हर कोई टीचर नहीं बन सकता, तो आप ईश्वर की उपदेवताओं की श्रेणी में आप हो। ज्ञानार्जन का जो काम करते हैं, यहाँ आने के लिए आपको कोई नहीं पहनोगे, वैसे ही आपके ग्रह शुभ है क्योंकि आप टीचर हो। अब ये तो CBSE ABC बोर्ड वाले हैं तो और ज्यादा एक्सपर्ट होंगे आप, है ना। तो ये बात मुझे बोलनी थी। और माइथोलॉजी की बात निकली तो मैं भी ये भी कह देती हूँ कि हमारी जो माइथोलॉजी में है, हमारे धर्म में, हमको अगर आप ब्रह्मा को दुनिया बनाने वाला मानते हो तो ब्रह्मा के 2 बेटे किन्नर थे, है ना। अभी आप बोलोगे यार ये 1960s के रामानंद सागर के रामायण में क्यों ले जा रही है, आई एम नॉट टेकिंग यू देयर, मैं सिर्फ ये बता रही हूँ। चलो आप ही के बारे में बात कर लेते। आप स्कूल में सब लोगों ने सीखा होगा ना, पुल्लिंगी, स्त्रीलिंगी, नपुंसकलिंगी सीखा है ना टीचर, आप लोगों ने सबने सीखा। संस्कृत में प्रथमा, द्वितीया, तृतीया भी हमने सीखा है। कभी आपको किसी बच्चे ने या कभी आपके दिमाग में एक ख्याल आया कि तृतीया क्या है? आया? इतने साल देखो बिना झिझक टीचर ने कह दिया नहीं, आई लव यू टीचर। कभी सवाल आया नहीं, हम ऐसे रटते गए। जैसे किसी स्पीकर ने पहले कहा कि 10 साल पहले मैं वही सिखाता था, 10 साल बाद वही सिखा रहा हूं। कुछ कुछ चीजें डाग अच्छे होते हैं, कोई कोई बुरे होते हैं, पर आपके कभी जहन में नहीं आया कि जब हम बच्चों को ये सिखा रहे, व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ प्रथमा, द्वितीया, तृतीया, पुल्लिंगी, स्त्रीलिंगी, नपुंसकलिंगी, केवल वो शब्द ही उतना मायने रखता है। शरद, पाउस पानी घे, शरद आ रही है, जा रही है, या कुछ ऐसे नाम, किरण, जो मेल का भी हो सकता है, फीमेल का भी हो सकता है, जिसे हम नपुंसकलिंगी शब्द कहते हैं। क्या उतने तक ही व्याकरण और भाषा सीमित है या रहनी चाहिए? आप समझने की कोशिश करो। मैं आप सबको, जैसे मैंने कहा कि आप मेरे गुरुजन हो, मेरे माता पिता के बाद फर्स्ट हमने जिसे पूछते हैं वो आप हो, क्योंकि मैं जितना भी मेरे बच्चों को सिखाती हूँ, ए फॉर ये बोलो, तो मेरे घर आके मेरे बच्चे बोलते नहीं माझा टीचर ने हे शिकवले। मैथ्स का नया भी मुझे किसी ने बुक भेजा, उसमें कहा कि इजी वे से मैथ्स करो, तो मेरी 3-4 साल की बच्ची ने कहा नाही पण माझ्या टीचरनी मला हे शिकवलंय, असंच मॅथ्स करायचं, या तो टीचर रॉन्ग देणार। तो आप समझने की कोशिश करो, पूरा एंटायर भविष्य सिखाने वाले आप हो। यदि आपके मन में मेरे लिए इतनी सी भी मुझे सहानुभूति नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि एक क्लास में जब आप 60 बच्चों को सिखाते हैं, कोई भी टीचर ये नहीं चाहेगा कि मेरे 60 के 60 बच्चे फेल हो जाए, या 60 के 60 बच्चों को मैं 35 मिनट्स में जो सिखा रही हूँ पता ना चले। आप कर ही नहीं सकते हो, क्योंकि वो आपका है ही नहीं। जिस तरीके से माँ घर में खाना बनाती है, वो सोचती है कि मेरे सब बच्चों का पेट भर जाए, उसी तरीके से शिक्षक भी सोचता है कि जो मैं क्लास में डिलीवर कर रही हूँ वो सब इनमें ऑब्जर्व हो जाए, कोई भी पीछे नहीं। एम आई राइट? यही धारणा लेके हम आते हैं ना। तो समाज का एक तबका ऐसा है, जैसे मैंने कहा पुल्लिंगी, स्त्रीलिंगी, नपुंसकलिंगी, जिसके बारे में हम बात करने को कभी, अरे साइज ऑफ, अच्छा स्कूल जा रहे, करने को जरूरत ही नहीं करते। आप लोगों में से कितने लोगों को ये बताइए कि कितने लोगों के स्कूल कॉलेज में ट्रांसजेंडर्स है? आपके स्कूल में आप एक गिनी चुनी 2, मतलब ये लेफ्टी राइटी जैसा हो गया। ट्रांसजेंडर्स है, काम करते, स्टूडेंट है, काम करने वाले। मैं को ना हमेशा, मैं जब डीमार्ट वगैरह जाती हूँ ना, तो औरतें लोग बोलती है, देख तू मस्ती करेगा ना, ये आंटी को मैं बोलूंगी पकड़ के लेके जा। तो मैं छोटे बच्चे के सर पे हाथ घुमा के बोलती, नहीं बेटा मैं तुझे नहीं पकड़ के लेके जाऊंगी, तू मेरे कोई काम की नहीं, तेरी मम्मी को लेके जाऊंगी, ताकि एटलीस्ट खाना तो अच्छा बनाएगी। आप समझ रहे क्या कर सकते हैं? आपके स्कूल बस है, आपका जो जूनियर केजी में जब बच्चा पहली बार स्कूल में एडमिशन लेता है, तब अगर उसके डोर पे अगर कोई आप ट्रांसजेंडर को काम दे दोगे, जो पढ़े लिखे अभी नहीं है, उनको अगर आप काम दे दोगे स्कूल कॉलेज में कि रिसीव करने के लिए, वेलकम करने के लिए, एक मोटी सी आंटी जिसको थोड़ी सी दाढ़ी है, थोड़ी सी पप्पा जैसी दिखती, थोड़ी सी मौसी जैसी दिखती, थोड़ी सी गोदरेज के कबाड़ के जैसी स्टॉल है, ऐसी को अगर आप दरवाजे में लगाओगे तो उनके मन का डर चला जाएगा, क्योंकि गीली मिट्टी को हम जल्दी आकार दे सकते हैं ना। अभी आपको बहुत टाइम लगेगा मुझे स्वीकारने के लिए, क्योंकि आपके स्कूल में टीचर प्रिंसिपल लोग, आपके बाजू में कभी ट्रांसजेंडर बैठ के कभी पढ़ाई किया? आपके स्कूल में कभी किसी ने छोटा ट्रांसजेंडर देखा है रास्ते पे? हैव यू एवर सीन अ स्मॉल ट्रांसजेंडर ऑन द स्ट्रीट? तो क्या मैं एलियन हूं, कोई मिल गया वाली? मैं कहां से आई? जेंडर को आप समझने की कोशिश करिए। जेंडर इज नॉट हियर, इट इज हियर। आई वॉज बॉर्न एज अ मेल। मैं पुरुष पैदा हुई थी, सिर्फ पैदा हुई थी डॉक्टर के सर्टिफिकेट के लिए। मेरे पास पूरे जननेंद्रिय थे, वो फंक्शन करते थे क्या नहीं करते तो वो भाग दूसरा, बट आई नेवर थॉट कि आई एम अ मेल। आप समझने की कोशिश करो, हिस्ट्री के किताब को अगर कोई मैथ्स का कवर लगाए तो टीचर कितनी भड़कती होगी, है ना? जब आप लोग टीचर को बोलते कि ये बुक दे दो और दूसरा कोई बुक दे दो, तो हमारे वक्त तो टीचर फेंका करती। आजकल तो नया है ना, टीचर मारे नहीं। हमारे वक्त वो टीचर थे कि जिनको पेरेंट्स भी कभी पूछते नहीं थे आपने बच्चों को क्यों मारा, छड़ी लागे छमछम विद्या यही घम घम, और टीचर का अधिकारी था हमारे लिए। मेरे स्कूल में, जिस स्कूल में मैं पढ़ती थी, वहां पे एक संस्कृत की हमारी टीचर थी। आई ऑलवेज वांटेड टू बी लाइक हर। जिस तरीके से वो बॉर्डर की साड़ी पहन के आती थी, लंबा मंगलसूत्र, एक साईं बाबा का चेन, बड़ी सी बिंदी, गजरे बिजरे लगा के, यार कुछ नहीं तो एक छोटा सा फूल उसके बाल में, और शी यूज्ड टू व्हेरी स्माइल। आणि मला असं वाटायचं मोठं झाल्यावर काय व्हायचं तर बाई व्हायचंय। आप समझने की कोशिश करो, आप इतने महत्वपूर्ण हमारे जिंदगी के हिस्से हो, पर कुछ जैसे जैसे मैं बड़ी हो गई मुझे कुछ टीचरों से नफरत होने लग गई। मैं वो भी किस्सा कहूंगी। मेरा 4th या 5th स्टैंडर्ड के बाद, दिवाली की छुट्टी के बाद जब मैं स्कूल चली गई, मैं एक बच्चे का नाम बदल के बोल रही हूँ, उसका सरनेम तावड़े, मैंने नाम बदला हुआ, तो उसको चश्मा लगा और हमारी वही टीचर ने कहा, काय तावड़े, मतलब मैं हिंदी में बोलती, क्या तावड़े नया गहना बनाया। आप समझने की कोशिश करो, टीचर का एक वाक्य से वो बच्चे ने चश्मा लगा के आया था। टीचर ने कहा क्या गहना बनाया तुमने? औरतों को हम लोग बोलते ज्वेलरी बनाया जैसे। वो बच्चे ने स्कूल छोड़ दिया। कितनी छोटी सी गोष्ट है। आगे जाके भविष्य में उसने क्या किया मैं कभी आज तक उसे ढूंढ रही हूँ गूगल पे, फेसबुक पे, पर मुझे पता नहीं, उसने स्कूल ही छोड़ दिया क्योंकि उसे हरासमेंट होती थी। मैं थोड़ी सी मस्तीखोर थी, पुलिस वाले की बच्ची थी तो शायद मुझे कुछ नहीं बोलते थे, पर मैंने बहुत बार देखा है जो LGBT के लोग होते हैं उनके साथ टीचर ही करते हैं। बच्चे लोग तो करते ही करते, अगर टीचर नहीं समझेंगे तो हम स्कूल किसके पास जाएंगे? बहुत आसानी से हमको चेंज करने की आदत होती है। यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ मेरा नाम भी गलत था, श्री गौरी में अगर रेड पेन लेके बैठो तो 3-4 आ जाएगा। किसने बनाया उसे बोल दो, शायद अगर टीचर होगी तो मुझे माफ कर दो, बच्चों ने किया होगा तो चल जाएगा। आप समझने की कोशिश करो, जिंदगी लाल और ब्लू पेन के पकड़ के चलोगे तो मेरे जैसे खाकी पेन का क्या होगा? आज अभियान जो सर्व शिक्षा अभियान जो चल रहा है, आप समझने की कोशिश करो जेंडर बेस पे। मैंने कहा कि मैं बचपन में लड़का था, हमको ये समझना पड़ेगा व्हाट इज LGBTQI, हमें वो हमारे एजुकेशन में वो लाना पड़ेगा। लैंगिकता को हमें समझना पड़ेगा। विकृति एवं प्रकृति, प्रकृति एवं विकृति, कोई चीज स्थिर नहीं है। आप ये समझने की कोशिश करो। जब लेकिन लैंगिकता के बारे में बात आती है हम थोड़ा झिझक जाते। जैसे टीवी पे कोई एडवर्टाइज आती थी पहले तो हमारे घर वाले बोलते थे जा तू जाऊं चाह घेऊन ये, या मुझे आज भी याद है वो विस्पर का एडवर्टाइज आता था और वो लड़की चौक उसको इंक में डुबाती और बोलती सारा सूख गया। मुझे मतलब नहीं समझता था और मैं स्कूल में वही कर रही थी, मुझे टीचर ने फटका मार दिया। तब तो पेंसिल से मारा करते थे। अभी तो चलो काउंसिलर्स होते हैं, मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में बात करते हैं, पर क्या लगता है कुछ टॉपिक्स पे आप बात करते हो? स्कूल कॉलेज ये सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी क्षेत्र है। आज हमारे लिए एम्पावरमेंट के लिए बात करते हो, आप समझने की कोशिश करो। 2014 में मैं भारत का पहला ट्रांसजेंडर जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट गया, मेरे लिए कोई गर्व की बात नहीं है। क्यों गई पता आहे? अन्न वस्त्र निवाराच्या पलीकडच्या पण माझ्या गरजा आहेत. रोटी कपड़ा मकान के अलावा भी मुझे मेरी डिग्निटी चाहिए. मैं कितने साल चौराहे पे भीख मांगू आप बताइए? मैं भी तो किस माँ का बच्चा हूं, मुझे भी तो अधिकार है. पर आप वो देने को तैयार नहीं क्योंकि आपकी पितृसत्ता इतनी रिजिड है. जैसे मैंने कहा कि आप उपदेवताओं की श्रेणी में आते हो. जब मैंने पढ़ा दो चीजें कि जैसे वो कौन था बच्चा जिसने वो अंगूठा काट के दिया, क्या नाम उसका? हाँ, एकलव्य. और उसके गुरु का नाम क्या था? द्रोणाचार्य. जरा खडूस होते असं वाटत नाही का तुम्हाला? फीस में अंगूठा ही काट लिया. हाँ, ऐसे टीचर्स आज के आप द्रोणाचार्य मत बनिए. आप समझने की कोशिश करो. मैं उस द्रोणाचार्य में आपको नहीं देखना चाहती हूं. आपकी एक बात से, एक चीज से, अगर फैमिली का मतलब हम सोसाइटी किसे बोलते हैं? माँ बाप, बहन भाई, ये पहला समाज होता है. दूसरा हमारे रिलेटिव्स होता है. तीसरा आप यहाँ बैठे हो. लेकिन हम जो पहले समाज से थर्ड जेंडर को तीसरे समाज में ड्रॉप आउट करते, किक्ड आउट करते, इसलिए हम थोड़े बदतमीज होते. लोग बोलते आप लोग बड़े डेंजर होते हैं बाबा, आप लोग दारू पी के करते हो, आप लोग ताली बजाते हो, आप चौराहे पे नंगे होते. यू शुड हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में समझने की कोशिश. बचपन से सिर्फ और सिर्फ हमारी लैंगिकता के आधार के वजह से हमें अलग किया गया. आपने जो क्लास में सीखा ना टीचर, वो मैं भी सीखी हूं. तो क्या उसके मेरे जिंदगी में कोई परिणाम हुआ? आप बताइए ना. शिक्षा ये ऐसा मंदिर है जहां से अगर मैं ड्रॉप आउट होते जाऊंगी तो मैं आगे जाके डॉक्टर, आईएएस ऑफिसर कैसे बनूंगी? ये बीज है मेरा. और इसे बीज पनपते पनपते अगर आप नहीं करोगे. आजकल तो गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है, अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है कि आपको कंपलसरी आपके स्कूल में LGBTQI के लोगों को लेना पड़ेगा, या ट्रांसजेंडर्स को. मैं बच्चों को कभी कभी एडमिशन करवाने जाती. ये हमारे पहले का एनजीओ का फोटो है. जब मैं एडमिशन करने जाए, टीचर लोग को सांगतात नहीं, पर आप ना फॉर्म पे उसको फीमेल ही लिख दो, अगर ट्रांसजेंडर लिखोगे ना तो बाकी के लोग चिढ़ाएंगे. 2-3 बार एक्सपीरियंस है. फिर बाद में मैंने कहा चलो ठीक है, आधार कार्ड तो ट्रांसजेंडर सर से फीमेल से करो, क्योंकि मेरे लिए अभी उनके साथ बहस करना मेरे ताकत नहीं है. एटलीस्ट उनको एजुकेशन मिले. अब समझने की कोशिश करो. मतलब शुरुआत वहां से है कि इतना स्ट्रगल LGBTQI लोगों का. लैंगिकता के बारे में जितना हम बात करेंगे, देखो मेरी लैंगिकता मेरे तक ही सीमित रहेगी. वो कभी किसी को फोर्स नहीं किया जाता, ये हमको समझना पड़ेगा. पर हम वो समझने की कोशिश नहीं करते. ज्ञानार्जनाचं जे काम आहे, शिक्षण ही अशी गोष्ट आहे की जिसमें कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं होनी चाहिए. आपके स्कूल कॉलेज में हम आप ये हमेशा बोलते कि बच्चों के लिए आप ओपन करेंगे. अभी रिसेंटली गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि ट्रांसजेंडर्स जो आगे की पढ़ाई करेंगे उनको एजुकेशन फ्री दिया जाएगा. अरे पर नंबर कितना है आप देखने की कोशिश करो. और ये सुबह के एक सेशन में वो कछुआ और खरगोश का था, तो मेरे मन में आया कि क्यों कछुआ और खरगोश? शायद 2 कछुए ही लगा देते, शायद 2 रैबिट ही लगा देते. जो इक्वल है ही नहीं उनके अपने रेस लगवा दी, है ना. फिर बाद में वो सर भी कितना होशियार था, उसने कहा कि एक ने इसको गोद पे लिया, फिर अपन चलेंगे. मतलब सॉल्यूशन टीचर्स के पास होते हैं. पर मेरा ये सवाल का भी आप जवाब दे दीजिए ना. खरगोश खरगोश के साथ भागता तो दोनों भी सोते, दोनों भी मजा करते. कछुआ कछुए के साथ भागता. आप मुझे आपकी रेस में खड़ा करके जेंडर इक्वालिटी का डोज दे रहे हो, फिर आपको तकलीफ है. वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट की तरह बॉटल ओशियंस में फेंके जा रहे. डोंट क्लैप, प्लीज डोंट क्लैप. ये कचरा बनने से पहले आपको इसका सोल्यूशन करना पड़ेगा. रीबैक क्या कर सकते, रीयूज क्या कर सकते, आप समझने की कोशिश. ये यहाँ है, इट इज नॉट हियर. आपको खाने का पड़ी है, मेरी जिंदगी का सवाल का जवाब कौन देगा? नो वन इज गोइंग टू आंसर. आपके पास आने वाले अच्छे. और लैंगिकता ये भी नहीं है कि ये तबके के लोग ही ट्रांसजेंडर होते हैं, ये तबके के लोग ही गे होते हैं. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. अमीर गरीब CBSE कौन से बोर्डों में कोई भी बच्चा हो सकता है ना. ये समझने की कोशिश करो. मैं भी तो पढ़ी हूँ, इंडिया इज माई कंट्री, ऑल इंडियंस आर माई ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स. बट नेवर यू ट्रीट मी एज योर ब्रदर एंड सिस्टर. व्हाई? बिकॉज योर टीचर नेवर टॉट यू. हमारे घर में आज भी यही बोलते हैं ना, बच्चा कुछ भी करेगा, शायद बाई नहीं है शिकवलं का. आई से स्टॉप दिस. मेरी बच्ची मस्ती करती, उसका टीचर का क्या मतलब है? फिर भी बोलते हैं ना, आपने भी सुना होगा ना, स्कूल में टीचर यही सिखाती है क्या? तो आपकी ये जिम्मेदारी आज से शुरू कर दो. आप तो सब प्रिंसिपल हो, हेड ऑफ द फैमिली हो. आप तो हेड ऑफ द फैमिली हो. अगर आपके स्कूल कॉलेज में कोई भी LGBTQI का बच्चा दिखता है, उसे ओवर पैम्पर मत करो. लेकिन ये भी देखो कि वो बच्चा एजुकेशन से दूर नहीं रहेगा. मैं और 20 साल बाद या 25 साल बाद सिग्नल पे भीख मांगते हो, खुद को भी नहीं देखना चाहती हो, ना मेरे बच्चों को देखना चाहती हो। अजीत से घर हमारी जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, वी वर्क विद सेक्स वर्कर फीमेल्स, जो एम्पावर वुमेन है, जो सिंगल मदर्स है, वो जो आपकी तरह टप्परवेयर का टिफिन लेके नहीं सेक्स वर्क करती है, उनके बच्चों को संभालने का काम मैं करती हूँ। बिकॉज आई एम अ ट्रांसजेंडर, मुझे पता है कि मेरे समाज के बारे में मुझे क्या करना है, मैं कर ही रही हूँ। पर मैं हमेशा ये कहती हूँ, बिकॉज आई एम अ डिवोटी ऑफ स्वामी विवेकानंद, मेरे टाइम खत्म, आई एम सो सॉरी। स्वामी विवेकानंद हमेशा कहते हैं, डोंट आस्क सोसाइटी व्हाट दे हैव डन फॉर अस, इट्स योर ड्यूटी टू प्रूव योरसेल्फ दैट व्हाट आर यू गोइंग टू गिव बैक टू द सोसाइटी। आप गुरु हो, माँ के बाद आपका सर्वप्रथम स्थान आता है। मैंने कुछ गलत कहा होगा, आपको अनजाते हो, आपका मन दुखा होगा तो मुझे माफ करिएगा, पर मैं ओबेस्ड बच्चा नहीं हूं, मैं मेंटली सिक बच्चा नहीं हूं। और WHO, आप लोग भी प्रगति पुस्तक को ही मान्यता देते हैं ना, WHO ने भी कहा है कि ये मेंटल सिकनेस नहीं है। तो जब WHO की गाइडलाइन आप फॉलो करते हो, सो ओपन योर आर्म्स फॉर LGBTQI पीपल। इफ आई एम एनीथिंग रॉन्ग, इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन, प्लीज यू कैन आस्क मी, बट दिस इज अ टाइम एंड दिस इज अ गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी। गौरी सावंत यहाँ पे एज ए लीडर आई हूँ, इंडिविजुअल करके मुझे कोई हक नहीं बनता है, पर मैं ये हमेशा चाहूंगी कि कोई पूरे इंडिया में इक्का दुक्का नहीं, हर एक स्कूल में एक दो ट्रांसजेंडर हो, पढ़े लिखे, और आपके जैसे हमारे लोग टीचर्स या प्रिंसिपल बने। ये नोट पे मैं रुकती हूँ, 15 मिनट्स में ज़्यादा नहीं बोल सकती हूँ, माफ करिएगा, धन्यवाद। नहीं, बट हमको दूसरे को भी सुनना है ना।
Thank you, ma'am, for such a thought-provoking session. And I hope we will all march towards a future where equity and equality are not just ideals, but also a reality, a tangible reality for everyone, regardless of gender.
Allow me, ये थोड़े ये हमारे साथ ईश्वरी है, जो 9th तक पढ़ी थी, स्कूल छोड़ी थी, हमारी संस्था भी उसको 10th के आगे की पढ़ाई कर रही है। आई वुड लाइक ईश्वरी यहाँ आके अगर बोले या कुछ बताए, काही नको बताए, ये तर पुढे शिकतेस ना बाबा आता तू, जो ड्रॉप आउट हुई थी स्कूल से, मैं आज पर्पसली से लेके आ रही थी, 2 बार वो चाय पी चुकी है, 3 बार नींद की झपकियाँ खाई है, नानी कब जाएंगे पूछ रही थी मुझे पीछे से, है ना। तो आई एम प्राउड, ये ईश्वरी जो स्कूल से ड्रॉप आउट हुई थी, आजी का घर का इनिशियल, ये अच्छे पोएम्स लिखती है, गाती है, बोलती है, पेंटिंग्स करती है, छोटे बच्चों का हमारा ध्यान रखती है। आजी के घर के बच्चों को, जो हमारा वैक्सीनेशन का टाइम होता है, तो बच्चों को वैक्सीनेशन करने के लिए आशा वर्कर्स के साथ हमारे जाते हैं। जब हमें पता चला कि ये 10th की पढ़ाई नहीं कर रही है, तो उसको हमने ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी से एडमिशन करवा दिया है। अब वो उम्मीद करती हूँ कि अगला समिट होगा या अगला आपका कोई काम होगा तो स्पीकर करके ये बात करेगी। बोलशील ना? चलिए,
Thank you so much. May I request Dr. Pragya Singh, Director, Academics and Assessment, CBSE, to felicitate Shri Gauri Sawant. I would request Dr. Sarida Jadhav to accompany Dr. Pragya Singh. Please put your hands together. Thank you so much.